Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We should get started, as we said earlier, on the dot. This session, APNIC 51 AGM number 2 session, will start with the financials. May I invite Kenny Huang, our treasurer and an EC member, to present the APNIC EC treasurer report, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Garrett. Good morning and good afternoon, anyone. Let me show my slide first. Okay, thank you. It's my honor to give in the treasury report for the year 2020 financial report and also the budget report for year 2021. So the report was split into two parts. For the first part would be a 2020 financial report. Second part will be 2021 budget and activity plan. So let's go to the first part of the financial report. So the page just summarize the highlight. Our last year operating surplus is 3.2 million, exceed budget by 2.6 million. And our revenue will be $126,000 above the budget. All the money I mentioned, discussed here will be Australian dollars. Expense will be 2.5 million below the budget, largely as a result of COVID-19 restriction. Our equity position increased by 3.5 million compared to year 2019. Our fair value surplus on financial asset will be $650,000. Our financial stability measure will be 16.88 months of operating expense. And we also have very successful audit outcome. So here I go to the detail. So starting from our revenue in year 2020, the majority of our revenue come from membership fee. For the year 2020, the membership fee was $22,766,000, which is 1% higher than our budget for 2020. And the total revenue for last year will be $24,995,000 Australian dollars, also 1% higher than our budget. For the expense, 2020 expense, our major expense will be salary and personnel expenses, which was 14,070,000 Australian dollars, which is about 4% higher than our budget. The total expense will be 21,782,000 Australian dollars. It's less than 10% compared to our budget. So that's the surplus for last year. The surplus for 2020, the operating surplus was 3.2 million, and which compared to our original budget will be $576,000. So the total surplus for last year will be $3,452,000, which is about almost 500% higher than our budget. Let's expense by pillar. As you may know, we have our strategic pillar. They have 5 categories for APNIC strategy. The first strategy will be membership. The second pillar will be registry. The third pillar will be development. Fourth pillar will be information. The last pillar will be capability. So let's break down into our expense into different pillars. So including membership, including registry, and development, and information, and also capability into the different pillars. So you can see the statement of our financial position. For the end of year 2020, our total asset will be 51,296,000 Australian dollars. That's 12% increase to our total asset. The liability for year 2020 will be total liability will be 70,120,000 Australian dollars. The majority of liability will be pre-earned revenue. So net asset in the year total equity will be 34,176,000 Australian dollars, which is 11% higher than our budget. The capital expenditure for year 2020 is 500. Total capital expenditure would be 570,000 Australian dollars, which is less than 30% to our budget. A majority because of the delay, so due to COVID-19 restriction. So including root server deployment and ISP and en route deployment. So that's because of COVID-19 restriction. All the deployment was delayed. The APNIC reserve, you can see majority reserve will be financial asset. The blue color stands for cash. And also we have property. Financial stability measure, the number of months of expense covered by our equity will be 16.88 months. So that's our target will be 18 months of our total operating expenses. The membership still keep growing even for the last year. Our total membership now reached to 8,341 members. Majority are small member and also very small member. You can see the distribution between our membership. As I mentioned, the majority member are small member or either very small member. That's membership by economy. Pretty much a member come from Australia, Hong Kong, and India, Bangladesh and India as well. So that's our audit. We have audit rotation policy. Deloitte undertook the audit of 2020 account, the second year of their 5-year term as APNIC auditor. The auditor outcome, Deloitte issued an unmodified auditor report. The account give a true and fair view of APNIC financial position and comply with the accounting standard and some observation to be considered in 2021. So I move to the next part. The second part of the financial report will be 2021 budget and activity plan. So budget preparation need to consider several key inputs, including, for example, including 2020 APNIC survey, and also including 2021 APNIC activity plan, and also 2021 priority as established through the operating planning process, and also APNIC organization structure, such as HR cost analysis and recruitment plan. Also membership projection and the asset register and quantity survey report. Also continue with the budget preparation. We also need to consider budget, including our existing cash deposit, and also have investment income prediction, and also from ERP system allow the verification of all current approved spending commitment. And also consider overall inflation rate of 0.7% was recorded for the 12 months ending September 2020. So that's overall budget preparation consideration. And finally, also we have APNIC taxation status as mutual organization by way of private ruling from Australian Taxation Office was reconfirmed in November 2017 for a further 5 years ending in June 2022. So that's for our budget in 2021. The approved budget 2021, including revenue, would be $26,971,000, including operational expenditure, $25.5 million, and operating surplus will be $1.5 million, $1,467,000 Australian dollar. Capital expenditure requirement will be a $2.7 million. I will explain later for the capital expenditure. So our budget revenue in 2021, total revenue will be $26,971,000. Majority revenue come from membership fee as usual. So you can see the revenue grow from 2017 up to 2021 projection. Our budget expenses in 2021, the major expenditure will be salary and personnel expense. That will be $40,994,000, and including some professional fee, consulting fee, that's $2.5 million. So the total expense for 2021 will be $25,503,000 Australian dollars. So you can see the budget expense in 2021 by different category. For example, the majority will be salary and personnel expenses. The operating surplus, that according to our budget, operating surplus will be $1.4 million, $1,467,000. The capital expenditure in 2021, we have almost around $2 million for office furniture and fitting, because the 2021 budget including the $2 million provision for upgrade to our APNIC office, and that was planned to be redesigned for this year, and including some reprovision for the office. That's our activity by different category. We have 5 categories, including membership, registry, development, information, and capability. Let's split into different color for activity plan, including the 5 pillars, sorry. Let's break down into more detail. All the data you see from here, and you can also get from apnic.net/transparency to download full financial report and full APNIC activity report. Thank you. That will be my presentation. Thank you for your question. Let's move back to Garrett.
Thank you, Kenny. We will, as I said earlier, if you have questions, you can continue asking them in the Q&A, and then we will answer those all in the open mic. So I see a question there from Aftab, and we'll take that or answer it there. So thank you, Kenny. Next up is actually myself, and I will present the APNIC EC report. Okay, so here it goes. Share screen. Okay, are you seeing the right slides, or you're seeing the?
Gaurav, no, we're not seeing the right slide. It's in presentation mode. Switch, yeah.
How about now?
It's good. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much, everyone. As I said, I'll present the APNIC Executive Council report for this meeting. We did our round of introductions earlier, but we are 8 of us on the APNIC EC. 7 of us are elected members, and the elections run every year. 4 seats 1 year and 3 seats the other year. And Paul, as the Director General, is an ex officio member of the APNIC EC. The functions of the APNIC EC is defined in our bylaws. We represent the interest of the members in the governance of the APNIC. We provide an oversight over APNIC activities. We also look at broad internet policy issues that may impact APNIC's or its direction. We set membership fees, and then once the policies are accepted and passes unanimously through the members, we endorse it towards implementation, like we'll do right after this. The APNIC EC usually meets face-to-face 4 times a year, twice during APNIC meetings and twice in between. But obviously last year we made all virtual meetings, and given the situation, we actually we had 7 meetings since the last AGM in Melbourne. The current meeting that happens at APNIC meetings is ongoing. It is just adjourned. We'll meet again after the AGM is over and close the meetings for this week. All the meeting minutes and records are always available on the apnic.net/EC website. This is the record of all our meetings. As you see, we took some liberty with spreading the meetings out a few times this year. because of various conditions. There was a meeting in May on which three of the members recused ourselves because there was a major conflict of interest relating to the three of us. But otherwise, we've had perfect attendance in the last 1 year. So let me talk a little bit about how we've done or dealt with COVID-19. Obviously, we've said this again and again that this was not sort of expected. Um, Within the EC, we have a dedicated liaison to look after the work, health, and safety matters in accordance with Australian law, and we try to go above and beyond. Kamzi, who is the EC member, is designated liaison, and he works very closely with the Work, Health, and Safety Committee at the APNIC Secretariat. During COVID-19, we had a BCP response team, which was established actually before the meeting in Melbourne in January 2020. And it was actually involved in evaluating our presence in Melbourne. The committee worked hard, and the well-being of the community and the staff has been our top priority throughout the last 1 year. And the committee, the BCP response team, has been providing regular updates to the EC since then, either via email or during the EC meeting. In the last 1 year, the new normal is basically been that now it is remote working is the normal condition. We've always allowed remote working in the past, but in the past 1 year, that is how we've operated throughout the year. We are still considering how our events are going to be managed in the COVID and the post-COVID world, and you'll hear about that from us in near future. We worked together with the APRICOT board to make sure that we are coordinated in our action, because for the whole community, both APRICOT and APNIC are a centerpiece of our annual community gatherings. As Kenny was just mentioning earlier, we are going to take some budget to actually modify our offices for 2021. This was already something that was being planned, but now that with the pandemic, we'll take into consideration how we can incorporate learnings from the last 1 year into the secretariat. I mentioned earlier in the opening, we also completed the 2020 APNIC survey, and the survey reports are there. The surveys are done every 2 years. It is independent and anonymous. We actually invite an external company to conduct this survey. The company that we use is called Survey Matters. And this is, I believe, the third time or the second time they've done this for us. The survey results and the EC responses are all published at apnic.net/survey. The survey results are shared generally middle of the year. And so we are able to incorporate feedback from the survey into the 2021 activity plan and budget. And as I said earlier, the activity report and our ongoing report on the website provides a tracker of how we are making progress against what we set our goals to. We just heard from Kenny on the finances. Our overall membership growth is in line with budget assumptions. As of end of last year, we had 8,341 members. We actually had a operating surplus last year of 2.6 million. Almost, 650,000 of that was contribution from our investment portfolio. But the rest of it was mainly because of the cut down on travel and a lot of activities that were just not being able to perform. That's why we had relatively better budget savings there. We just went through the approval of the 2020 audited financial statements. The auditors have found no issues of any of our control systems and the functioning. And we'll also go through the approval of activity planning and budget for 2021 that Kenny presented earlier. On the community side, the APNIC EC nominates one member to the NRO NC ASOAC, which is the ICANN number council or the address council for every year. And we had elections at APNIC 50, where Subham Saran was elected by the APNIC community. Aftab Siddiqui has been elected before. The elected members serve a 2-year term. And this year we nominated Nicole Chen as the EC appointee for a 1-year term, starting from 1st January till 31st December of this year. Our thanks on behalf of the EC and the community to the outgoing members of the NRO NCSOAC, Mr. Brajesh Jain and Simon Sohel Baroi. Thank you to both of them for their services on the ASO and the NRO. The other appointment or community engagement that the APNIC EC does is appointing an appointment to the INA Review Committee. We have appointed Satoru Surumaki to the INA Review Committee for a 2-year term starting at the beginning of this year till the end of last year. We have 3 representatives to the INRC this year. Obviously, we have Boton, who has been elected by the APNIC community, and we have Satoru, and we have Gong Liang Pan as the staff representative to the INR Review Committee. I believe they are currently in the process of finalizing the report for this year, and we should be receiving a report from them or from the INRC by the end of this month. The EC thanks all the community members for their service on the committee, and also like to thank Sam Zulfadli for his 2-year service on the review committee previously. Those were the community things. Now, a few new things to talk about. The APNIC EC has taken the inputs from our survey, and one of the big important feedback that we've been receiving for a few years, and we are proposing some changes to the historical resource fees. When we say historical resources, we are generally referring to resources that were allocated prior to the formation and incorporation of APNIC by INA, AUNIC, or NGNIC, or resources that has been held before APNIC was formalized. Starting 1st January 2023, and that is roughly 2 years away, we are going to get or enforce that all historical resources holders will be required to hold a member or a non-member account. Right now, we have a special arrangement whereby it is called a historical resource maintenance fee. It has not been reviewed since it was set up, I believe in 99 or 2001, but for a really long time. And rather than increase that fee, we've taken into consideration all the feedback we've received and are going to ask all of the historical resource holders to join in as members, most likely as associate members. There will be details around this published on what type of membership those resource holders can join in as. But the key thing is the historical resources will not be counted towards the annual fee calculation that is used to determine your membership fees. This is being done so that we can offer all regular membership services like RPKI, RDNS, and any other services that are on offer to the membership to the historical resource users. There'll be some more changes on this so that we make sure that we don't leave those out, and we can talk about it later or during the years, the 2 years, coming 2 years on this topic. And as I said, part of this change will be that all of the existing services, including RPKS services, will be made available to all historic maintenance account from actually from the 1st of May 2021 itself, while we give another 18 months for those members to become APNIC members or a non-member account. Additionally, just we said earlier in the Paul talked about it briefly in the report for the Secretariat, we've incorporated the APNIC Foundation Limited as a public guarantee company, limited by guarantee in Australia. The foundation is already incorporated in Hong Kong, but given our structure and the more activities it's been doing, we've also incorporated it in Australia. Having said that, those were the highlights of the previous year. We welcome all feedback. There are multiple ways to get to the APNIC EC. If you are a member or if you have a My APNIC account, you can go to the submit an EC submission via the website. You can also go and contact us on the APNIC website. Obviously, you can talk to us via Zoom or some other medium during the conferences. There are full details of all of us and how to contact available at the website. And I would really welcome all member feedback on the annual report, for which we have the link there, and to see how we can improve upon it. Thank you very much to all of the members and the Secretariat and the community for your support of APNIC on behalf of the APNIC EC. Thank you, everyone. I think we are next is, and obviously, as I said, we will continue to take questions and we'll address those during the open mic. Stop sharing. Okay, we'll address those questions in the open mic. And I think next up is we are going to ask our chair of the policy SIG, Bertrand, to make his report on the policy SIG. Sunny? Bertrand?
Yes, Gaurav's waiting for Bertrand to.
Okay, thank you.
Did we promote him, Steve?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Gaurav. So now I'm going to share my presentation, if I can find it. There it should be. Up. And click. Up. So it should start there. Okay, here we are. So I am Bertrand Cherrier, and my co-chair is Ching-Heng Ku, and we chair the open policy meeting, and here is the report. So a quick reminder of the charter. The policy SIG Charter is to develop policies which relate to the management and use of the internet number resources within the APAC region and all the number resources. Step 2 implementation of a policy proposal. First, you have to submit it. Then there should be a mailing list discussion. From there, we talk about it on the open policy meeting. If it reaches consensus, then it has to reach consensus at the APNIC member meeting. Follow that, a comment period. Then there's the executive council endorsement, followed by an editorial comment period, and then the Secretariat implements it. At the OPM this year, we had 2 presentations. one from Sunny about the policy document review and the SIG guidelines as well. And this presentation is going to lead to new proposals. We had another presentation by Geoff Houston about addressing in 2020. If you missed it, you must take it on YouTube. It's very interesting. We had two proposals at this OPM meeting. First one, Prop 130, modification of transfer policy. The objective was to ensure that policy text is clarified if those cases are supported by the community. It will also facilitate companies or business units moving or being established in other regions. This prop has been discussed for 2 years now, and it still did not reach consensus at this OPM, and the proposition has been dropped by chairs. The author said that he will try to rewrite it completely and propose it at the next real face-to-face meeting. So that will be at least in 2022. Second proposition, Prop 133, clarification on sub-assignment. The objective was to clarify the text by rewarding and simplifying it and avoiding an unintended policy violation when deploying IPv6. This proposition reached consensus at the OPM. Here is the modification made from the actual policy to the proposed policy solution. And I'm lost in the, here it is. That was the end of my presentation. So now I will call for the consensus of the member meeting on this proposition 133.
Thank you, Bertrand. As a procedure, our current procedure requires that we receive a consensus from the members at the AGM for all the policies that are agreed upon and passed by consensus. So can I request Sunny to bring up the poll so that we can get member consensus on this topic? For all of the participants, you will see the poll on your screen now. Please submit your support or opposition or neutrality to the proposal. This proposal was passed unanimously, well, not unanimously, but reached consensus in the policy SIG. Please note that this is not a vote. This is more about causing consensus in the room. So go ahead, please. For all participants, please select the appropriate one on the screen.
And as a reminder, if you strongly oppose the proposal, you should explain why. Thank you.
Okay, I think that, Sunny, are we okay? Have we received responses?
Gaurav, would you like me to end the poll? Consensus?
Yes, please. I hope everybody got a chance to submit. Let's
okay.
End it.
Doing it now. And I'm sharing the results.
Okay, looks like we have quite a bit of support and no strong opposition, small opposition there. So I think we can accept that this proposal can proceed towards final call on the mailing list. Bertrand, I think, Chair. For the members, the policy will now go to the mailing list for the final call. For anyone who is still opposed, please engage on the mailing list so that the chairs can make the appropriate call there. Thank you very much, Bertrand, and the policy SIG chairs for running the policy process for us this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a slot for open mic, but I think we'll keep proceeding. I would like to get to the before the lunchtime for any questions or discussion. Let me see if there is any questions on the policy. There is none on the policy. And any questions on the chat? Nothing on the chat. So as I said, instead of the open mic, please continue asking your questions or bringing your opinions to either the chat or the Q&A in Zoom. So let's go on to the next report. The next report will be the NIR SIG report by Billy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Billy. I'm the chair of NIR SIG. Let me first share my slide. Can you see the slide?
Yes, we can see the slide, but I think you have to do the
Presentation mode, slideshow.
Okay, okay.
It's okay, Billy, you can present it. We can see the slide. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. This Tuesday, we had a meeting with all the 7 NIRs. As you see, VNIC, TWNIC, JPNIC, CNIC, IDNIC, KLIC, and RIN. All the NIRs in AP region made their update, mainly activities and some statistics, and also some observation on pandemic era. First presentation was VNIC. It was presented by presenter Ng Nguyen Phu An, and he started his presentation introducing the vision for Vietnam, which is to safeguard the internet and making more stable internet for the Vietnam, and with a slogan that is internet for all. And also he shared their NIR system upgrade and RPKI and ROA promotion status. And also, okay, along with this, in this year, they are planning to review all their local internet address resource policies, including ROS and circulars as well. And next, TWNIC was presented by Tim Wang. As you know, Taiwan is actively promote IPv6 and RPKI, and their IPv6 user availability reached at 52.44%, 44%, and the RPKI is 98.52%. And they will plan to promote IPv6 and gradually expand the ROI coverage, and with more trainings and seminars for local members. And JPNIC presentation was quite interesting because the presenter Kogi-san shared COVID-19 status in Japan, and his observation was this COVID-19 is bring the changing transforming culture, possibly. For example, Japanese traditionally prefer to use stamp and post, but now under pandemic, people cannot go to the office, so the electronic billing, the government is sending link for the electronic billing, so replacing the traditional method. It was quite interesting. And also they collaborating with the local communities, but as you know, as many other countries, most of the meetings went online. And for example, they have been holding for 20 years Internet Week, but this time it was the first time for them to take them to online. And CNIC was updated by Zenu. My co-chair told me, shared that all the internet status in China, internet users 989 million, and penetration ratio rate was 70, and most of them are, over 99% are mobile users. And China is focusing on IPv6, RPKI online trainings, and has plans a lot of seminars in this year as well. And IDNIC and Indonesia was David presented, shared their member service grade with IDNIC IRR and my IDNIC portal, their internal system grade. He explained, and also it was he highlighted that online 360 experience. It's their annual member meeting, and they invited APNIC and with other NIRs as well, and also provided 60 webinars and academy services for their members. And KR League also, KR League have been exchanging, synchronizing quiz information with APNIC. And also they, this year, last year, they finished, completed the RDEP service. And then they plan to open trial RDEP service in the third quarter in this year. And ARIN, Abhishek made a presentation about ARIN status, and he featured user-friendly My ARIN online forms, and also he mentioned the ROA registration, and now in India, 5,970 ROA are registered, and they also launched the campaign, RPKI campaign, with India NOG and ARIN and APNIC as well. So this is a report from all individual NIRs, and I would like to summarize that the pandemic brought changes, and under this hard time, all NIRs in AP region is still providing stable service for their countries. So this is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. As usual, thanks to the NIRs for being active part of the APNIC ecosystem. We will now move on to Joy Chan, who will present us the Cooperation SIG report. Thank you, Billy, and over to you, Joy.
Okay, everyone, and this is Joy Chen. I'm representing the Cooperation SIG to give the report at this AGM. So on behalf of myself and my co-chair, Bikram, we are here to telling you that this year we are setting the theme as the role of the network operators during the COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, that the Cooperation SIG is really a forum to discuss a broader internet, the different issues that between the impact our APAC community interests. We have involved the government, the other sectors, the different organizations. So this year we have a broad and diverse panelists from World Wide Web Foundation talking about affordabilities and the Asia Pacific point of view. We have the education sectors from the Australia Academic and Research Networking. We have the hospitals from Taiwan, and we also have broadband network representative and also the cable and telecommunication associations, and we also have representative from banking. So from this panelists, we originally set up the stage as the World Wide Web Foundation Andre has explained to us on the Asia Pacific overview on the impact of the pandemic to the network operators. And we deep dive a little bit on the viewpoints on the affordability that involves the device, the bandwidth, the content, the digital awareness, and of course, the digital gaps. How do we bring them together closer and closer? And we also talk about the anecdotes from the education sector that we're taking care of the university, the students, and we also have a lot of the international students that traveling and the different access to the internet, talking also about the multiple devices. And from the health sector, how does the hospital respond to the COVID-19? They standardize the different process to support the patients, the different needs, and also the staff. So they're taking care of the patients. They also doing the telemedicine, put that into the real practice. And also they continue to modify for a better supporting system from the hospital point of view. And from the cable operators, we have specifically the lesson learned from Philippines and the network operations and the security during the pandemic from the network operators point of view. So with all that, we see the spirit of the cooperation, that there's more and more opportunity that requires from the different sectors. The awareness of phishing and the fraud, as we also see that the e-commerce has grown very fast and that the people are staying home and utilizing the internet. So the security continue to be a major threat to the internet users. We had a very lively, very productive sessions. We think that this cooperation spirit will continue touching the different sectors, different organizations in our community. And that's my report, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you to the Cooperation SIG chairs and co-chairs for the excellent session there. And hopefully we continue discussing these topics in the APNIC meetings. Thank you, Joy. I will now move on over to Aftab Siddiqui to talk about the routing security SIG, the newest SIG. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just give me 1 second. I need to share my slides. I'm assuming you can see my slides, the right ones. So I'll just move on with it. Sorry, just going back a little bit. So this is a SIG routing security SIG report by myself, Aftab Siddiqui. So we had this event yesterday, 3rd of March, 1400 to 1500 ADT, which is the Australian Daylight Saving Time. I am the chair, and I have my supporting co-chairs, Dr. Dima and Rupesh Resta, who's been helping with the program and all the other things in their agenda. Of course, the format of the meeting was a Zoom meeting rather than a webinar. We had around 90 people attending the meeting as confirmed by the Secretariat. Just to remind everyone, this is the SIG Charter. It's a long one, so I'm not going to repeat it. It's on the APNIC SIG website. You can have a look and see our jurisdiction. So the agenda of the event was a bit smaller because we had 1 hour. We thought it was the time was enough, but we were mistaken. We had to cut down our agenda and we couldn't go to the last presentation for that reason. But we had a very fruitful discussion around the RPKI. George Michelson did the APNIC RPKI report, as he's been doing it from the very first routing security SIG. We had a panel discussion. It was around the implementation of RPKI and the aspects of transparency. We have seen some community discussion on other IRs, and there was some concern there as well. So we wanted to make sure that the community is involved in those discussions. So we raised it with George Michelson, who will be leading this initiative from APNIC, and also from the APNIC side, it was the IG Kimura-san, who participated in the discussion. I'll come to the not the conclusion, but some takeaways from the discussion at the later at this stage now. So, but before I come to the takeaways, these were the important points we wanted to discuss in the panel discussion. What is the certificate validity? Why every RIR is doing it differently? The certificate practice statement, which is called CPS, how ROA certificate revocation list and the manifest publication timelines are decided, and things like that. And it was very fruitful discussion, I would say. And here are some of the takeaways. Myself and the other co-chairs have combined these points. These are very important, and I would suggest APNIC EC to have a close look at it, because this is going to shape up how we are working in the RPKI space in the region. Some of the things APNIC have already initiated, and most importantly is the review of the CPS. I only thought that it was published 5 years ago, but GGM confirmed that it was published 10 years ago. So it's well overdue, but there are some certain legal aspects in that CPS, which of course beyond our reach. So we are not going to comment on that one, but we would like community to have a review on the operational perspective or operational points inside the CPS. So there should be a community consultation phase once the CPS is ready for the review, I would say. And then there was a discussion about what is the recommendation or the partnership or the dealing with, if somebody wants to have if somebody wants to host a self-hosted CA. Currently there is no guideline for that. There is no relationship between APNIC into telling that entity that how you should be doing it and what are the consequences of not doing it correctly. So anybody can just click one button and go ahead and do it, which we believe that it's a very there is a gap in this one, and it should be sorted out as early as possible. And the most important point I think I would say here is we are encouraging a lot of operators to move into the RPKI space and start creating ROAs initially, and then move into the route validation as well. But we have to make sure as people who are very who respect the processes and respect how APNIC has been doing it, that there is more room for transparency to make sure that the operators are confident enough to do this. For that reason, they should be in SLA with the membership that, okay, we will provide you these services and we can guarantee you XYZ. What that XYZ is we haven't discussed it, and I think it's too early to make that comment, but I think this is important for APNIC EC to start discussing about it right now before it's too late. So these were the takeaways from the panel discussion, and some of the suggestions for moving forward. We had a discussion with the chairs, and of course we discussed it with the secretariat. We think it is important to have regular consultation with the community. So we will be doing another standalone event for the routing security SIG in 4 to 6 weeks. We will come up with the date soon, and we will work with the secretariat. They have already provided. They have already offered the support for this one. So we would like to bring more community members and also the vendors for the relying party software, who are another key aspect of this whole RPKS equation. So these are the points you will be looking after in a couple of weeks time, and of course we will update the mailing list. If you have any question on that one, you are most welcome to ask. So these are my points, and I would recommend everyone who is not part of the routing security SIG to join, and we can have a much fruitful discussion. If anybody has any question, I'm happy to answer right now or maybe later.
Thank you, Aftab. As we've said, any questions, let's pop that onto the Q&A, and then we can answer that. Looks like no questions for the routing security SIG. I think the SIG has been doing really good, an excellent job, Aftab and the co-chairs. I think we had more than just the SIG, and I remember that one of the recommendations was you should get more time for the SIG next time, so that you don't have to cut down on presentation. Thank you again. I would like to thank all the SIG chairs once again because you do a very important role in our community and keeping the discussions alive. We had some questions for the open mic. Let me go through that quickly. We had a question from Rob Thomas about RDNS, and it looks like it's answered already. Yes, the intent is with the changes with the historical resource to regularizing it. The plan is to offer everything that all members get. And that was one of the, realization that people with historical resources were excluded from RPKI services. And that is one of the triggers for this change. There is a question from Aftab around the financials, and Kenny has answered that. I think the question is, there's two parts that the first part I can see that was related with the capital expenditure for the office enhancement. I think that is overdue. But the thing there is that spending is being done as a capital expense and will amortize over multiple years. I think 10 years is our threshold there. So that's good. And then I think I would actually probably be a good time to discuss this offline if there are any more questions on this. But the Secretariat has been in very close contact with the membership. And I believe that we have given extensions for payments where members have shown delays or having trouble with paying the fees, and extended that as much as we can. And from what I remember, we saw an initial surge in similar requests at the beginning of the year. But I think by the end of the year, we were actually seeing requests to actually pay in advance because people were worried that the Australian currency would gain over their own currencies and wanted to pay in advance. So we've seen that. But I think after your points are noted, we'll continue to look into it. I mean, what happened in 2020 was not expected. And so we'll have to look into it. One thing is sure, though, is that the capital reserve provides us a really good safety mechanism whenever we save money. And, thankfully, we didn't have to do a massive change in our operating style last year, but those are for those kind of days when we need that. But points taken there. On the fees, I think that is done. There is also another suggestion from Aftab about allowing for minimum the Gary /24. And so it looks like the request is, can we get /48s as an associate member? That is how I interpret this. Associate members today get ASNs. And, we are expecting all the historical resource holders to become associate members at minimum. But this is something worth considering. I'll need to go back and look at the wordings of the one-click policy, but I think we will need a policy that allows the Secretariat to do this, and the policy can refer to the EC for fees to be set. So this is something, I think this is a good thing that, we should be promoting more V6 and RPKI and so on. And if holding a V4 address makes it expensive, then I'm pretty sure we can look at reducing that burden and allow for people to tinker with V6, RPKI, and all of it. So thanks, Aftab, for that suggestion. We should talk more about it. And I would urge the community to get together, review the policy, and see what policy enhancements may be needed for this to actually happen. So I think, Aftab, your request there about having these fees done by next APNIC might be more difficult unless we get a policy done. Then we can consider it more positively. So I think those are the open questions there. Hope we've answered them. Now I hand over to Sunny for a quick housekeeping reminder. We have some session polls and some reminders here. So Sunny, over to you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Just a quick reminder regarding the APNIC EC elections. The voting will close at 2 p.m. UTC +8. So you have about 35 minutes left. If you haven't voted in APNIC EC elections, please vote now. And the session poll is up. Please let us know how you felt about this session. Your feedback is valuable for us to improve in future. It should be on your screen now. And we will take a 35-minute break and join back AGM 3. Again, it's a different Zoom webinar link, so please log out from this one. And after about 35 minutes, join the AGM 3 with a different link. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sunny. As Sunny said, we'll come back on the top of the hour. It is actually 10 p.m. where I am, but it is going to be 2 p.m. in Manila. And wherever you are, whether we are going to have lunch, tea break, or dinner, we'll see you in roughly half an hour. Thank you very much.